Good evening, everyone, and welcome to something a little bit new. I'm Neil Harvey from Wantleydale Cricket Club, and along with Mr. Ian Davies here from Norcross Cricket Club, we are presenting the first Palace Shield podcast. We have been asked by the league to start things up, not to suggest that others won't be joining us at some point, but we'll be looking at things all relating to the Palace Shield and maybe a little touch on Northern League here and there, and we'll just be having a quick chat about anything that's interesting at any given time. And obviously at this time we're coming into the start of the season, so we're just going to keep it quite short and brief today with this first episode and look at the first fixtures throughout the league from Premier down to Division 6. So it's going to be a bit of a slog, but we're going to keep it light and look at some of the movers from a player perspective as well, and also obviously what the fixtures might bring. So Ian's going to kick us off with his slightly more superior knowledge of the top end of the league. So where are we at from the Premier Division then, Ian? Talk us through it.
Only slightly. It's probably a long time ago. They all start at 1 o'clock, of course, due to the changes of the rules. The first fixture that we're going to look at is Eccleston versus Fleetwood at Doctors Lane. The home side will be hoping to improve on their 9th place finish last season, and their playing ranks have been bolstered by overseas amateur Rhys Thomas. Fleetwood, they've lost Alex Ryder to Blackpool, and James Amers now working away. So Captain Adam Sherrocks he'll be hoping that the additions of Melbourneian overseas amateur Zach Corcoran, who's a left arm opening bowler apparently, and former Pakistan men's fielding coach Atiq Uz Zaman, I think that's how that's pronounced. Apologies if it's not correct. He's been signed from Barrow, not Barrow in Furness, but Barrow in the Cheshire County League. And Shaz will be hoping that these additions will help the team return to the NPL after relegation last year.
I'm sure Fleetwood will be very, very keen to get off to a flying start, Ian, and like you say, try and bounce back at the first attempt into the Northern League. And nice ground to visit for your first Palace Shield Prem match. So good luck to both teams on that one.
Absolutely. Next up, this should be a good game as well, actually. It's Kirkham and Wesham, who were 4th last year, versus last year's 5th place team, Barrow. The home side have brought in Josh Butcher from Blackpool, as well as overseas amateur Justin Banks to Woodlands. And Barrow, they'll be looking to get back into the NPL, and they've signed Nicholas Elliott as their overseas for 2022. So that should be another good game.
I don't know whether this is inside info or not, Ian, but I was with somebody from Kirkham today, and apparently Kirkham may be missing one or two from this first week. I've heard young Theo Cunliffe is going to get his first team debut, so congrats to him. But may mean that Kirkham might be a little bit short for this first week, so maybe Barrow take advantage of that. So let's wait and see on that one.
Possibly. Early season though, isn't it? Obviously, first games, it's you can catch teams cold, or there's nobody in any sort of form at this time of year. So it's a great chance to get off to a flyer.
Absolutely.
So, next up at Woodhill, a fixture that not many years ago would have been an NPL game. Morecambe take on Preston. Morecambe looking to bounce back. They've signed overseas amateur Shane Burton, and Preston will be hoping to finish higher than 7th place achieved last year. I think they won 9 out of 22 games. They'll be looking to improve on that this season.
Yes, from my perspective, I believe Morecambe have lost a few players, so it'd be interesting to see how they can cope with that. And again, Preston, as you say, can go either way. Can be absolutely destructive on the day, or can get rolled. So it'll be interesting. It'll be a very interesting match from a couple of different perspectives. That one.
Absolutely. Next up, Pemberton versus Croston at Middlefirth Green. Both teams will be looking to start the season well, both having pretty poor records, to be honest, at the back end of last season. I think they'll both agree. Pemberton finished 8th. They've picked up Kristen Yearwood as their overseas. Croston in 10th last year, although there were some distance from the bottom two teams, Fylde and South Shore, who were well adrift, to be honest. And it's sad news about South Shore, Neil. Their first 11 packing in. It's not good news to lose a team. Obviously, their team in Division 4 becomes their first 11, but it's pretty sad news. I've had some, well, I've had some good and bad memories from South Shore over the years, but you don't want to see a team fall. It's really sad.
Yeah, it is, and I've had some real good memories and got on with a lot of the South Shore guys over the years, and yeah, I think some of them saw that coming a little bit, but like you say, it's never good to see a team stalwarts of the league have to fold their first team. So best wishes to them. I hope the second team, I'm sure we'll come on to their second team lower down, but hope it's a better season for the club as a whole. And good
Absolutely,
luck.
I mean, Andy Gillibrand. I was told, the last couple of years have been a real challenge for them, and it's a shame that they couldn't overcome that and keep those two teams on a Saturday. So yeah, not good
absolutely.
News. Next up, Thornton Clevelys versus Great Eck at the Waller. 5th versus 6th from last year's final table. Thornton have added Ryan Adderley from South Shore and returning to Great Eccleston. Super Sports' very own Noddy after a couple of seasons away with St Anne's and Farnworth Social Circle, I think was playing last year. Two good signings for both teams, I think.
Yeah, Ryan, I've always been impressed with the gloves and as a batsman. So I think he'll be just a real good, solid signing for TC. Noddy, I mean, if he hits anything like the form we know he can, then it may propel Great Eck to a bit higher up the division than they finished last year. So I'm sure that's what they'll be hoping for.
Absolutely, a good signing for them. There, I was talking to him only a couple of days ago, actually. But yeah, hope he goes well. Last but not least, at Boundary Meadow, we've got Torrizone versus Exton. The two teams that came up from Division 1A, the home side as champions. They'll know each other quite well. Torrizone have added overseas amateur Matthew Klein to their ranks, a Victorian medium fast right arm bowler, 24 years of age, according to Carl Hansen, who gave me the lowdown fairly recently. And Exton, not long in the Palace Shield, they'll be happy to have reached the Prem, and they'll want to give a good account of themselves, no doubt. And they're overseas for 2022, Ulrich van Duker. Again, I hope I've said that correctly.
I believe the overseas is actually a guy who used to play for them as pro a number of years ago. I think it was about 2013, if I remember reading the tweet correctly. And I also believe, and somebody Exton can put me, I know a couple of the guys at Exton, they'll put me right on this if it's not right. I believe he's actually moving to the UK. So that's why he's come over as an amateur now. So yeah, good luck to him. As I say, apparently he was well loved when he came over in his first stint. So let's wait and see from that point of view. Mm-hmm. But yeah, as I say, I think both teams up into the Prem, and again, as we said with some of the others, both of those will be really keen to get off to an absolute flyer in the Prem.
They will. I mean, it's interesting. Is this overseas amateur thing? I know that Neil, you've brought somebody in, but is he a student? He's not technically overseas.
No, so obviously our overseas amateur unfortunately fell through at the last minute, but then we got, like you say, he's a South African Indian guy who's come over purely as a student. So yeah, we're having a look at him at the moment, and so we've landed quite lucky from that perspective. But it is good to see. I come from a background where overseas amateurs were just about in every team in the South Yorkshire League. Right. So it's good to see the Palace Shield teams embracing it a little bit more now, and I think it'll become the norm over the next couple of seasons. So it's very interesting to see. I always like to keep an eye on it.
Well, we had an Aussie lad over Zach Gain. He had a really good experience here, and we've got Finn Peel, who's coming over at the beginning of July. Circumstances have changed. He was supposed to come over 2 years ago. He'll be joining us at the beginning of July and through to the end of the season. So he'll be coming over the sort of back end of the season, really. July, August, hopefully, when it's nice and sunny for him.
It'll be interesting to see how they all adjust to the conditions, Ian. That's for certain.
Absolutely, yeah. Especially the prevailing westerly wind that we get at North. too sweaty job. I'm immune to it now, so I'll be okay. But
I can
yeah,
understand
it takes some getting used to.
that.
Do get a few umpires that best not say, but yeah, one or two cold days that we've had there might quicken one or two of the decisions, shall we say? But
Yeah, I can understand
maybe,
that.
maybe I shouldn't. In Division, moving quickly on, in Division 1A, we've got English Electric, that's BAE Preston for younger viewers, versus Horton at the Riverside. Carnforth make their Palace Shield debut against Fylde, the latter having been relegated from the Prem last season. They'll be looking to bounce straight back. I know that Bobby Denning's been doing some coaching at Fylde, so they've been working hard on their game, and they've made some enhancements to their facilities as well.
For just on Fylde, Ian. Sorry.
No.
I have no link to Fylde other than knowing a few of the guys there, and Marshy and Graham Lawton, who we saw at Lucky's the other week. But I've just been keeping an eye on what Fylde are doing as a club, and they seem to be one of the really progressive clubs in the Palace Shield right now. They as you said, make some really good improvements to their ground. Clubhouse is looking brilliant. Ground's looking superb. I know it's had the outfield's been a bit dodgy in the past, but I think that they're a real hard-working club at this moment in time, and I think obviously they'll be rather hoping that on-field performances match that up, and that they can go back into the Prem. So yeah, good luck to them. I sent them a message on Twitter this week saying really impressed with the hard work on and off the field that you guys are making. So yeah, good luck to Fylde.
Yeah, I know Keith Moore does an awful lot of work there. I think he's just injured his hand, so I don't know whether he'll be how long he'll be out for. He was down watching. We played Fylde at the weekend in a friendly at our place. I was actually scoring, so I think that's probably where I should be. But yeah, so I was on the word with Keith. It's interesting because I know they've made a statement on social media of a possible link up, even merger with Wire. What do you make of that deal?
I think it's probably good for both clubs, in all honesty. If both clubs feel it's a feasible thing to do, then I think it'll be very positive for both. And again, applaud both, but applaud Fylde in terms of looking to do something like that. But I think it'll be a really positive move for both clubs. So yeah, good luck to both clubs from that point of view.
Be interested to see how that comes together. They're obviously looking at next year.
Yeah.
But you know, they might have some hoops to jump through with the league, etc. And it'll be interesting to see how that pans out.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So yeah, moving on. Rectory Field, we've got a local derby. Maudsley were third last year versus Rufford, who finished fourth in the league, I think. That should be a good game, shouldn't it?
Yeah, can't beat local derby. So yeah, as I said, good again, great facilities at Maudsley. Hopefully, I fully imagine it'll be looking absolutely resplendent on Saturday. And yeah, two good clubs again. Who I know Rufford have been working hard, bringing some quality juniors through as well, and integrating them into the senior team. So it'll yeah, I think it'll be an absolute cracking local derby to get things underway.
Yeah, should be good on that one. We've also got New Longton at home versus Tarleton. I noticed that Tarleton probably may or may not be taking part in this fixture, but they look like they're focusing on women and girls cricket because they've signed an awful lot of female players. So
yeah,
it looks like they're building something up there. I know they're quite a progressive club. I took our softball team there last year. I know some guys at Tarleton, and you know, I think they go about the business in the right way as well, and they've got quite good facilities there too.
They have indeed. Yeah, I think, as I say, I think New Longton have been struggling a little bit. We played their second team in a friendly on Saturday. Spoke to Dave Fortune and Paul Fairhurst, and I think they're hoping for better things in the first team. And good luck to them. And Tarleton, yeah, again, very progressive club. Ladies section's coming along leaps and bounds from what I'm hearing. So yeah, again, two really well-run clubs, and I think that'll be a very interesting one to see where both are positioned after this first game.
Yeah, Standish entertained Withnell Fold on Saturday. And Standish, they've signed a couple of players, a lad called Nasser from Cherry Tree and Rahel Rafiq from Duckingfield in the GMCL. So they look like they've been recruiting from further afield.
Yeah, I did. We know a couple of lads at Standish via a couple of lads at our place, and I know they've signed, I think, two of the lads who had been in the first team previously. Is it Cushnude? I think something like that, who scored a lot of runs in their first team. I think he went to the Liverpool comp, and he's come back now along with another player who went with him, I think. And clearly, whether there's any links with those guys, but I think having links with in other leagues is quite key, and can bring in some good talent that's maybe a little bit untapped and not really known from a Palace Shield perspective. So it'll be interesting. I think Standish have been doing some hard work recruiting over the winter, and I hope. Well, it'll be interesting to see whether that bears fruit for them. But yeah, I've seen they've been doing some good work recruitment wise. So let's wait and see how that pans out. Withnell Fold, again, another great little club. Tend to see the usual faces up there. So and tend to stick it out in Division 1A for a number of years now. So yeah, I'm sure they'll make their usual fist of it. But interesting to see how Standish go in that one.
Absolutely. Grimston, no fixture, only 11 teams in the division, of course, because of South Shore dropping out. I went through the Division 1B fixtures. We've got Wayne Clark's Fleetwood. They entertained Chorley at Broadies. Fordham Broughton Twos play Morecambe Twos at Highfield. Great Eck are at home to Thornton Cleveleys. Thornton have been promoted last season, did very well. So it'll be interesting to see how they go. I know that they've brought in one or two players this year, one or two in the first team, so that will sort of filter down to the seconds and thirds. I think they're going to be looking strong. You've got Leyland Twos versus Blackpool Twos at the Stanning Memorial. At the Newsham Memorial, Longreach Twos take on Penwitham second string, and Netherfield are at home to Garstang Seasons.
Yeah, again, good luck to all teams in there. There's, I think, when you look at a lot of the second teams in that 1B, clearly there's a lot of players playing for places, particularly with their first teams from a Northern League perspective and Prem level. So I always find it quite interesting to look at 1B and where the players are progressing. There's a few players in there, talented youngsters, and it's always an interesting division to keep an eye on. So I quite like keeping an eye on 1B.
Yeah, I keep a fairly close eye on the good friends at Fleetwood. So no offence, surely, but hoping that Fleetwood get off to a good start tomorrow. Funnily enough, we played both Fleetwood Twos and Chorley Twos in the cup in the cup last year. So we did actually our paths did cross. Div 2.
Yeah.
Let's have a look at what we've got here. If I've got the right division up on the screen, I have. I've come up through these again. There's Longreach Thirds versus Ingle with Freckleton CC. That's the official title on the Palace Shield website. Obviously Ingle playing at Freckleton, and again, very sad that Freckleton, to see the demise of Freckleton, but good to see cricket still being played there, and one or two old faces from the Freckleton team playing essentially for Ingle.
Yeah, I mean, we going back to the Whatleydale 2015 when we won Div 3, we had some cracking matches with Freck, and it always used to come up in talks within our team about Freckleton and what, like you say, it was too good a ground not to be used. So I am glad Ingle found a new home there, and it suited them as well, and it suited the fact that the ground could get used, and I'm just glad it has, because too good a ground to go to fallow or anything like that nature. So good to see him back. We did play a friendly there a couple of seasons ago now on a glorious day, and it just sort of brought back memories of playing there in the past. So yeah, really glad to see that's being used now.
Yeah, it's good news. I spoke to Mark Rigby the other week at Lowther Pavilion. We've gone to see Henry Blofeld. Bob Veach had took me,
Yeah.
and Mark was there, so I was having a catch up with Riggers. It was good to see him.
Excellent.
What else have we got? We have at the Gillette playing fields, we've got Penwitham Threes versus Torrizome second 11. Preston Twos play Ray Green firsts. Westcliff at Vernon Road, we've got St Anne's Twos versus Norcross first 11. And I know that Rob Hales and John Smith will be pleased to know that I'm actually umpiring.
Yeah.
Due to for medical reasons. So I'm donning the white coat, and I've got the old clicker ready, and I've been practicing the old raising the finger. So
I take it monetary value in the back pocket will assist all batsmen, Ian. I presume that. Sorry, no, we didn't say that.
Yeah.
No.
I am open to bribes, but
Good,
you know,
good.
I'm fair across the board. I'll take a bribe from anyone.
You'll take bribe off anyone.
Yeah, so it's equal. So that'll be that should be a good game actually.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think there's some. So again, through contacts, obviously St Anne's have some talented youngsters knocking around. We played their second team in the cup last year. I actually got roped into the first team and played that game, and I know there's some very talented sort of 16, 17-year-olds knocking around St Anne's. Whether they'll get promoted to the first team or not, I don't know. But I think it seemed like a false position for them to be in last year and getting relegated. But as I say, it'll be interesting to see how they go in Div 2, because I think there is definite talent there. Probably just a little bit of consistency maybe. And so it'll be interesting to see how they go this season.
You've got a few lads across the age groups in the interleague squads that we've been working with in the indoors in the winter.
Yeah.
And obviously, lads involved with in the interleague. So yeah, they've got some good up and coming young players, and be good for our Norcross boys to play somewhere like St Anne's as well. So good news all around. No teas though, sadly, which is unfortunate. But there we go. We might get onto teas a little bit later on.
Might get touched on.
Vernon's Twos will play Fordham Broughton Threes, and Whittingham and Goosner Ones will play Reggie Lane, and that is all the fixtures in Div 2.
I'm going to take Div 3, seeing as I'm playing in that division this year. Some bizarre and wondrous reason I've been roped into skippering our first. So I've actually got to move up a division without actually doing anything. It's always the easiest way to do it. So we've got Blackpool Thirds versus Eccleston. Eccleston, who were relegated from 2 to 3 last year, so a bit of an unknown quantity to me. I think they've got some good juniors knocking around as well. I think they've had a good crop about that under 15, under 16 age. So again, be interested to see how they go. Blackpool Thirds don't seem to ever change over the last few years. Likes of Ben Mortimer and Mr. Diver knocking around. They always seem to see the same names in there, and they always seem to be fairly consistent. So that'll be a good game to get things underway. Charnock St James first versus Kirkham and Wesham seconds. Kirkham went up. I'm sure they won't mind me saying this by default with Standish dropping down. Standish seconds. So Kirkham got promoted as the next best team that could get promoted.
Competition, I guess, but yeah.
Well, that's it. And I think Charnock again are one of those teams in Div 3 who are fairly consistent. And Kirkham, we played them last year in Div 4, and again have some good juniors coming through. And again a good club on the rise again at the moment, Kirkham. After having occasional doldrums in the past, but obviously a stalwart of the league, so it'll be interesting to see how they go As I said, the person I was speaking to at Leyland tonight, whose son plays there, he was a little bit unsure whether the second's getting promoted has come a season too soon, albeit not through performance on the field. You know what I mean? So it'll be interesting to see how they go, stepping up to the next division. Exton Seconds versus Maudsley Seconds, another team we played last year. Exton Seconds performed superbly in Div 4 last year, so again, I'm sure they'll come in with huge hopes of maybe back-to-back promotions. So again, interesting to see how they go. Maudsley, again, stalwarts of Div 3, always seem to be there or thereabouts. Grimsby Seconds versus Chorley Thirds. Grimsby Seconds, a team full of talented cricketers. We've played them on numerous occasions, and yeah, some really talented cricketers in there. So I think they felt they should have been promoted a couple of years previously with the talent that they've got. Now they've got that chance. It'll be interesting to see if they can prove that. Chorley Thirds, you know what you get there. Lots of talented juniors coming through at Chorley, and a good mix of old heads in there, likes of Ross Deming. I'm sure he'll be in there. So yeah, see what we get from Chorley. Leyland Thirds versus New Longton Seconds. As I said, we played New Longton Seconds on Saturday, albeit with a couple of first teamers in there, but older first teamers. I'm sure Dave Fortune and Ferry wouldn't mind me calling them that. Had a relatively consistent season last year, New Longton. Leyland a little bit hit and miss. I think there's a lot of movement with juniors at Leyland at the moment. And I think it's just going to be see where players find their level. And I think that's a little bit of the issue at the moment with people flitting between the teams at Leyland. So again, be interesting to see how they go. And New Longton, just seem to be a steady group. So good luck to them. Ourselves, we're hosting Lancaster Seconds, and got to say, Ian, a little bit of a worry for me because I've been noticing Lancaster Firsts of signing some quality players, which tends to suggest to me that Lancaster Seconds might be a little bit stronger this year. So, I mean, we're quite strong. We've got a couple of new players, so we're confident. But yeah, I think from a Lancaster, it'd be interesting to see how they are compared to last year. I umpired at the game last year at our place, and Lancaster was strong then. Faizan Khan batted superbly then, always a class bat. So yeah, it'd be interesting to see how Lancaster Seconds are set up. But no, I think it'll be a competitive league this year in Div 3, and good luck to everyone, and hopefully we get a warm welcome wherever we go. Going on to Div 4, again a division we've had some experience in last year, so I know a lot of the teams. First on the fixtures is our second team, and again another local derby going to Horton, so that'll be hotly contested, the local Wantleydale Horton derby. Your second team, who I know had a little bit of a difficult year last year, but I will say carried on manfully, absolutely superbly. In terms of the difficulties they faced in terms of getting players and umpires and the like here, I had nothing but praise for your second team at Norcross last year, and how Malcolm Tweedy keeps going, I have absolutely no idea. But the guy puts everybody else to shame in terms of his fitness. It's ridiculous.
He's done an awful lot of work on the ground as well. He's been doing a little bit of painting, and I've just rehandled his bat for him, so he's going to be keeping going on a little bit longer, I think.
Excellent.
No, I think yeah, it was tough, and I know that the last game of the season you kindly offered drinks, both alcoholic and non-alcoholic drinks for our lads, because it was a challenging year. There was no relegation from Div 4, as you know.
Yeah.
And it was a constant headache, week in, week out, trying to get umpires, trying to get scorers, using the loan system. So thanks to all those loan players that turned out for us last year. It was a tough time. Kumar was captain. He's captain again this year with vice captain Simon Mellor, who's been doing a tremendous amount of work for the club in terms of the ground, and we're in a much better position because we've had drainage work done. So that's good news. So we've managed to put out teams this weekend. We haven't got a scorer and umpire because we have put two lads through umpiring courses, and neither of them are available this weekend.
Oh, typical.
So it's just typical. So hence why, you know, the old man's getting the white coat. But no, thanks for that, Neil. It was tough, and I think it's going to be tough again. But you know, hopefully, if we can have a bit more consistency with players being available,
Yeah,
one or two showing a bit more commitment, you know, we can put our players out.
yeah.
If we need to be bolstered by the loan system, that's absolutely fantastic. But yeah, fingers crossed. It can't be any worse than it was last season.
No, no, and when clubs are in that difficult times like that, Ian, you know, I think everybody appreciates it. Everybody's been through it at some point in some way, shape, or form. So yeah, good luck to them. They're playing Leyland Force, who I know again are bringing a lot of juniors through. I believe Chris Hans is umpiring, not Abby, this week. So Chris will lead those guys manfully. He's a good guy to have at the helm. So it'll be I think one of those matches that'll be played in 100% the correct spirit. That one. So yeah, can see that being a good one. Tarleton seconds versus Longridge Force. Longridge Force played our seconds actually on at the weekend, and are looking quite strong. Always a strong club, we know that. So again, talent tends to filter down. So, but Tarleton again, as we discussed, another strong club. So I think that'll be quite an evenly contested game. Vernon's thirds versus South Shore. Now first team, was second. Again, will be interesting to see whether the influx of players at Vernon's filters down and strengthens their third team. And South Shore, if it's the second team of last year, they'll be able to more than hold their own in that division. So again, good luck to them after the, as you say, sad demise of the first team. Wrapping it up with the last two fixtures, Coppice against Darwin Thirds. Darwin Thirds got promoted out of Div 5. Coppice had a difficult season last year, won some games, but again, had a pretty torrid end to the season. So hopefully they'll be, I believe they've signed a few new players as well, so they'll be hoping to get off to a good start to the season. And last one is Widnall Fold seconds, who again got promoted, I believe, playing Standish seconds, who asked to drop down from 3 to 4 due to lack of players. So again, it'd be interesting to see if Standish benefit from those players signing the first team, as we discussed at other clubs. So yeah, a lot of movement at these clubs, so it'll be interesting to see who plays where. So again, I think that'll be a really competitive Div 4. Going into Div 5, we've got Brotherton first versus Wyre first. Again, as we discussed with Wyre potentially merging with Fylde next year, so important year for them to see what they can do in Div 5. Brotherton, a really well-run little club. We've got some links to Brotherton, some players we know through players of ours, and yeah, a lovely little ground as well. So yeah, they're always striving to do well. Croston seconds against Whittle. Well, Whittle first, because they only have one team now. We've been training with Whittle actually at Lucky's at similar time to us, and again they look really strong and really optimistic. Spoke to Guy from Whittle, and yeah, he seems in good spirits. So yeah, always a good set of lads at Whittle. So good luck to them. Croston, it's always an interesting one, Ian. And I know there's a couple of clubs like this that have a big discrepancy between their first team and second team. So first team in the Prem, second team in Div 5, and I know clubs always want to close that gap because obviously players coming out of the second team into the first, it's always a difficult step up, isn't it?
Yeah, it can be off-putting. I mean, we've had that situation in the past, not so much now. There's just a couple of sort of divisions between us. But yeah, it can be quite off-putting. Maybe for younger players coming through, you know, it can be, you know, seen as, you know, oh, can I sort of bridge that gap? Obviously, the better players will do that, but it can make it difficult, and you know, it can create, in my experience, it can create a bit of reluctance for some players to go up. I mean, I've always played where I was picked, although I only get a game because my wife does brilliant teas. But the bits and pieces journeyman that I am. But yeah, it can make a big difference, can't it?
Yeah, as I say, especially if you and Croston have had some juniors coming through, but to make that step, that transition, it's not as easy, and it can be difficult for the first team as well because they have to take that into consideration if they are bringing somebody up. So it's a tricky situation. You know, you sort of feel for clubs like that, but at the end of the day, they've just got to strive to close that gap a little bit, I suppose. So yeah, we'll wait and see how that one goes. Fylde seconds versus Tarleton thirds. I can't say an awful lot about that one because I don't know too much about both teams. Again, Tarleton might be interested to see if they blood some of the lady cricketers that they've signed into their thirds. Greggy Lane seconds versus Thornton Cleveland's thirds. Again, two stalwarts of this division and always seem to be there or thereabouts. So I'm sure Thornton will be.
I think Thornton might be strong their thirds because I think they've added players like saying before. They've added players, so you know that has an effect on the seconds and the thirds. So you've got some good players filtering through to that third 11. So I think they're going to be strong. I was talking to a Thornton player actually earlier tonight.
Okay.
Over some equipment, but he's looking forward to it, and he was saying that they're looking pretty strong.
Now there you go, straight from the horse's mouth. Ian Davis's team to watch in Div 5. And then we've got Ingle with Freckleton seconds against St Anne's thirds. So again, that'll be played at Freck, and yeah, it'll be interesting to see how all those get on. We'll just quickly move into Div 6 and finish things off from the Saturday perspective. So we've got Great Eck thirds coming back into the league. Obviously, they have had a third team before. So they're back in playing Blackpool Force. And again, as we've discussed before, Blackpool, strong club, a lot of juniors, and their fourth team tends to be relatively strong from time to time. And Roger Garlick's in there. We know he's going to score runs. So Roger always tends to make it strong as well. So I say it'd be interesting to see where Eccleston position themselves coming into that division. New Longton thirds against Charnock St James seconds. I know New Longton struggled for players a little bit last year. I know they recruited quite heavily during the season, so hopefully it's a little bit more stable for them. And Charnock St James seconds again, always quite strong. And I know they've recruited quite a lot. I believe from the Blackburn area.
Yeah, they seem to, looking through the transfers, they seem to have signed quite a few on.
Yeah, I believe it's from a few of the guys from sort of Blackburn Park cricket. A few of our guys know some of them and say some of them can be some decent cricketers in there. So it'll be interesting to see whether they position themselves from a first team perspective or a second. But it should strengthen Charnock as a club moving forward. So good luck to them. Penworth and Fifths, new to Div 6, on the success of Penworth and Force last year, who pretty much strolled the league. Be interesting to see how the fifth team goes. They're playing at Wellfield, a ground I know well, don't particularly like, but that's not to be held against Penworth. Against BAC seconds, again another team that seemed to have a decent start to the season, but tailed away a little bit in Div 6 last year. So I'm sure they'll be open to get away to a good start. Ray Green seconds versus Vernon's Force. Vernon's Force coming back into the division after a break last year. And again, probably a likely story that we've discussed here with players filtering down. I believe Pete Malloy's captaining the fourth team this year, so good luck to Pete. I'm sure he'll again, much like Chris Hands at Leyland, and Pete is a safe pair of hands to be guiding that fourth team, so good luck to Pete. I don't want to guess how many years he's been in the Palace Shield competition. I'm not going to go there, Pete. I'm not going to go there. And lastly, Wyre seconds versus Wantleydale thirds at Cotton Hall playing fields. Our thirds have strengthened this year. Again, we keep repeating ourselves, much due to the improvements and a few new players higher up and some new players to the club. The thirds should be stronger this year. Last year was all about development and game time. This year, there's a few more targets being set. So they're under the captaincy of Elliot Tailforth on Saturday because unfortunately Mick Berry is injured. So good luck to the thirds and a trip over to Pontley Fylde to get the season underway. So that's the Saturday division. I think you're going to have a quick run through the Sundays, I believe.
I will run through the Sundays. What I would say to your third 11 and anybody that's visiting our neck of the woods, whether you're going to Thornton or Wyre or Fleetwood or Fylde, is give yourself another 15, 20 minutes because there's all sorts of road works that's happening with the bypass and the roundabout near the River Wire. So it might be prudent to set off just a touch early.
I mean, come on, you're listening to the Waltondale, but not the Waltondale podcast, the Palace Shield podcast. Not only that, you get traffic news. I mean, is there any other reason not to come and watch this?
Absolutely. I mean, people might have gone to Fleetwood Freeport. The advice is the same. So we got on Sundays, Div 1. These are all 1:30 starts, according to the Palace Shield website. And I, for one, believe them. We've got Chorley versus Blackpool, F&B versus New Longton, Garstang Penwitham, Kirkham and Wesham versus Thornton Cleveland. In Sunday Division 2 South, we've got Exton versus Charnock St James. Like we're saying, Charnock seem to have picked up quite a few players.
Yep.
We've got Greggy Lane versus Vernons, Rufford versus Leyland, Tarleton versus Darwin, and Whitland Clayton Woods versus Maudsley. And finally, in Sunday Division 2 West, we've got Longridge versus BAC EE Preston. Done the official title there.
Nice.
And St Anne's versus Torrizon. So all the very best of all of those teams playing across the weekend. The umpires, scorers, and the very few people who will be doing the tees. Because there's not many doing the tees, is there not, Neil?
No, and I've got to say, I was quite surprised. I mean, we've opted out. We've opted out purely because of logistical reasons, really. We used to have teas done for us by a local pub. Unfortunately, that agreement's fallen through. And we just feel from a logistical point of view, and I've got to say lack of demand from within the member base,
Yeah.
We decided against it and opted out. But I expect to see more of a 50-50 split across the divisions. And certainly from sort of 3 down, it appears to be only maybe 2 or 3 clubs in each division that are doing it. I've got to say I expected more. From my point of view, I very rarely have a tea anyway. I'm not a big eater at tea, unless I'm at Norcross, usually. But generally, it really won't bother me an awful lot. And I think most of our players have said the same. But part of me's sad, Ian. But part of me, I think I'll just learn to accept it, to be honest with you. What's your feelings on it?
Well, there's only 2 other teams in Division 2 doing in Division 2 doing the tees, which I'm surprised at. We're doing it. We've decided to do tees. I think it's part of the tradition of the game, but I'm a bit old school, mind you. For me, the best part of the day is the tees and possibly the shower and not having a drink afterwards, rather than the cricket, the actual cricket on the field. But no, I think we're fortunate that we've got volunteers to do it.
Yeah.
As I say, I'm really lucky, and the club's really lucky that Angela will be doing the tees. In fact, we weren't going to do a tee for the friendly against Fylde, but Angela said she hadn't done a cricket tee for a couple of years, a bit out of practice. She wanted to get back into it, taking it very professional.
A pre-season friendly for teas. Nice, like it. Good
chicken speciality. But not only that, she did a chili for after the game.
Oh, superb.
It was like, and there was a vegan version as well. So, that's commitment there. But yeah, it's a bit sad, like you say. But the clubs have been given the options, and that's what they've chosen to do. So makes it a bit of a faff with subs. It'll be different one week, and it'll be different again if you're not taking a tee. So, but we've managed to sort something out there.
Yeah, I think there's some changes throughout divisions, rule-wise as well. That's going to take some getting used to, as well as the tee situation. So, and hopefully on timings, everybody arrives on time with the earlier starts as well. That's going to be the first few weeks.
You're right, Neil. And the thing is, as well, for those of us that be doing the ground as well on a Saturday morning, you've got to get there half an hour sooner, half an hour earlier, and again producing the teas as well. You've got less time to do that. So, but yeah, it's what the members wanted. So that's what we'll go with. And if it doesn't work, then we've got an opportunity at the next AGM to fine tune those timings and those arrangements.
Absolutely. Well, let's see how it pans out. First games of the season. Good luck to everybody, and I wholeheartedly mean that, especially the umpires.
Absolutely.
Might need it this first week, but anyway, good luck to everyone. This is our first podcast. Hope you enjoyed it. Try to keep it nice and simple. There'll be more to come, different formats. Anything you want to see, get in touch with either myself or Ian or anybody on the Palace Shield committee. Make some suggestions. That's what it's here for you, the membership, not just for me and Ian to decide what happens. So please get in touch with your ideas. And we'll be back again soon, I presume, with some reviews of games, not just previews.
Yeah, hopefully. I mean, we're not too sure about the regularity. I mean, we've not brainstormed this a great deal, have we, Neil?
No, it's been on the fly, I think you would say. Yeah.
Yeah, we've put something together at pretty short notice. However, I think we'll probably, at the moment, the thinking is we'll probably do one a month just to sort of catch up on performances. Like you say, check on the league tables and see the teams that are in form. And it may be that, we get somebody in, I don't know, like Rob Hales to clarify some sort of rule or law or, DLS or whatever it might be. But again, like you say, Neil, it's up to clubs and members. It's a two-way street. We're not just a mouthpiece of the league, and the league's fantastic committee. But we're here for you, the members. It's your channel. It's your podcast. So please get involved, and we welcome your input.
Absolutely. Couldn't have said any better myself. Well, thanks for joining us in. Appreciate that. And let's see what the weekend brings. Certain badges of us will be watching play cricket closely after the close of games for some stats. So we'll see how it goes. But thanks for watching, everyone. Really appreciate you tuning in, and we'll see you again soon. See you later.